and welcome back to my channel. Carrying on a discussion about empathy as last time. COVID arm has come back. It's just a rite of passage. It's just how I respond to the Pfizer vaccine. It's not as bad as last time though, actually. Last time was really itchy. This time it's only slightly itchy, and it's only like a really, really pale pink little kind of slight rash over the vaccination site. But it's barely visible, and it's only like really slightly itchy, whereas last time it was a lot redder and more itchy. I asked the person before I had it, by the way, about it, and she said apparently it's very common after the Pfizer, but obviously not everyone gets it, like my dad doesn't. It must just be a very individual thing. But in a way, I'm quite glad to go, because I sort of feel it shows the vaccination is working. Obviously, if you don't have COVID arm, the vaccination is still working. It's just one side effect some people get. But I think it must be a sign the vaccination is working, so it's kind of quite reassuring in a way. I've just come to expect it now, because it's like it's like how I respond to it. So yeah, it's like very predictable. But it's not like annoying. It's just very, very. I just feel it's just very, very slightly itchy and just feels rather tender and kind of like slightly sort of, what's the word? It feels a little bit like it's been irritated, basically. You know, it's like kind of like itchy, kind of like warm feeling to it. But yeah, I think it's just a sign my immune system's responding to the vaccine, so I think it's quite a good sign. Okay, so I would like to carry on talking about empathy and autism from where I left off. Yeah, sorry I couldn't do the second video tomorrow. Yesterday, sorry, because the battery on the camera died, so I had to charge it. So that's why I'm doing it today instead. Yeah, so just getting my thoughts together. Yeah, so I was talking about empathy, and I wanted to carry on talking about it. And in this video, I'd like to talk about an example of autistic self-state and lack of awareness of consequences in autism. Okay, so this example occurred when I was at secondary school. So when I was about sort of, I don't know, how old was I? About 13, 14, that sort of age, approximately. I was at secondary school anyway. And I already knew that I was weird. I had that awareness from towards the end of primary school, really. I sort of knew I was kind of a little bit strange, but I didn't really sort of dig too deep into it or introspect on it heavily in any way. So I don't think you really do at that age. I just had this kind of awareness that I was, you know, a bit weird. I sort of blamed my parents for it. That's how I kind of explained it at the time. A socialisation failure, that's how I explained it to myself. I wasn't the problem, it was the way I've been brought up. That's what I thought. Because it's easier to blame other people, isn't it? So I knew I was weird. And obviously I didn't really have any friends. I had on-off kind of associations with one other girl, but they never lasted for various reasons. So most of the time I was a loner. And I guess I was just kind of like, I don't know, looking for some sort of reaction from other people, because I didn't really know how to relate appropriately or how to get reactions the normal way. So I made up this story that basically I'd slept with a dog. I don't know why I thought this would be funny, but you know, I was a teenager, and teenagers can sometimes be, I mean, even non-autistic teenagers can sometimes be a bit inappropriate, but you know, this was my way of kind of basically getting attention, because I didn't have any friends, and I don't know, I was a little bit fed up with the situation, maybe a bit bored, and I was already weird. I knew I was weird. I didn't have much to lose, and I just thought it'd be funny. So I told some people in my class that I'd slept with a dog. Now, I did have a dog at the time. I had a dog growing up. Of course, I never slept with her. That was just a made-up story, just to get attention and a sort of reaction. I told everyone that I slept with a dog. Now, it's kind of, for me, this was just a funny kind of, this was just like a funny kind of story. Just kind of like getting a reaction, getting a laugh, as it were. But I didn't really think too deeply about the consequences of saying such a thing, because to me it was just a joke. But there was a girl in my class who, I don't know why she did this, maybe she did it deliberately because she was out to get, I don't know, I mean she was one of these people, she was a weird one, she could be nice and then she could be really horrible, and sometimes she did try and bully me and stuff, so it might be, so I don't know why she did it, but anyway. My dad, who was a teacher at the time, ended up getting a phone call from someone at the school. I can't remember who it was. It might even have been the girl. I can't actually remember. I'd have to ask my dad. But clearly, this girl had reported what I'd said to those higher up. And yeah, my dad got a phone call asking if it was true and stuff like that. And obviously, and this really concerned my dad because, he was a teacher, and I think he was worried that social services might get involved or something. I don't know. Maybe it's someone that literally thought I'd been sleeping with a dog. Maybe they might be concerned, like a safeguarding issue or something. Like a child sleeping with a dog doesn't sound very good. To me, it was just a joke. Just something I'd made up, just a funny story. But obviously the consequences of that kind of could have got my dad into trouble. It didn't, because, it was explained that basically this was just me making up a story sort of thing. But I do remember that, my parents did have a go at me about it because of the consequences. I didn't think about consequences, I just thought it was a funny thing to go around saying, not realising that some people actually might not see it as a joke, to me it's just a joke, and I didn't think that anyone would take it seriously. To me, it was just a joke. This is a funny thing, because autistics are often accused of taking things literally and not getting a joke, and sometimes when an autistic tells a joke of their own, other people take it seriously, so it can kind of work both ways. Maybe literally people didn't realise I was joking, which is funny, but yes, what can happen. So that was another example, but in this case of not seeing the consequences in that example. Now I'd like to tell you a bit about some more caring behaviour that I displayed growing up, because so far I've just talked about some of the things I did. Actually, before I get to the caring behaviour, maybe I'll leave that hanging. I would like to get to the caring behaviour, but there's just another example of potential lack of empathy which I just want to share with you from when I was a kid. Again, me not realising that other people really had feelings, and what I was doing was, I don't know if it was so much an awareness of that what I was doing was not, I don't know if it's so much an awareness of whether or not my behaviour was appropriate or not. I think it was more just a kind of obliviousness to other people's feelings, more than anything. I think part of me found it funny to do things that were not appropriate. So I think I must have had some awareness of what I was doing was kind of not appropriate, but the thing is that I didn't, I found it funny to kind of do things that were not appropriate, because obviously then you get a reaction from people, and because I didn't have the understanding of other people's feelings, to me it was just like a laugh, and I got a reaction, and that was like funny, obviously not for the other person. So another example of this, so I remember when I was about I was at primary school age, so maybe sort of 9, 10 years old. When we went on holiday to Stratford upon Avon during the summer, because we went to Stratford upon Avon every year and we stayed at a caravan site during the summer holidays. First we went to Devon, then we went to Stratford upon Avon. It's like a long holiday because my grandpa lived up there, and he came down during the summer because he spent a lot of time over in America, and then he came down in the summer and we always saw him. So we always went to Stratford upon Avon, but we stayed at a caravan site. And yeah, I just remember that we were at this cafe, and my parents, we were sitting outside a cafe, you know, and me and my brother, we were just like a bit bored and restless, as kids can be, and we went off on our own, just not that far from where our parents were sitting. It was just literally, there's basically a cafe here. They were sitting outside a cafe. We just went a little bit further down into the high street, and I thought it would be really funny to go up to random people in the street and to like gently tap them on the back and say like really, really random stuff to them. So I would like go up to people in the street, tap them on their back, and they turn around and I'd go, "Hello, would you like some chicken?" Like really, really random stuff. Like, could you imagine if someone went up to you and said, "Hello, would you like some chicken?" It's like not what you're expecting. It's a completely random thing for someone to say. It's like completely random, and that was why I found it really, really funny. Obviously not funny for the other person who was kind of annoyed. And then obviously, because you know, I think I'd find that very annoying if like a random kid came up to me and touched me on the back. That's kind of would piss me off so much. Yeah, very annoying kid was I. So yeah, people would turn around and give me funny looks, and then we just like run off giggling. As I say, I was probably about 9 or 10. And yeah, and just like going up to completely random people and like saying completely random stuff. And then I remember another time when we were on a bus and there's this woman who was sitting in front of me and I kept on playing with her hair. I was such an annoying kid. And she turned around, she gave me really annoying looks, and I found it really funny. And she turned around and gave me like a really horrible face, like she didn't like what I was doing. And I carried on playing with her hair. And I was just like giggling because I found it really funny. Again, it was just like attention seeking, reaction seeking, kind of that sort of thing. But that showed a lack of empathy because obviously like I wasn't responding to her feelings, the fact she was annoyed. I don't think I even really understood. All I saw was that I knew I was getting a reaction and that's what made me laugh. I didn't see things from her perspective, but actually this was really annoying. So that's another example of an empathy problem. Another example was when I was once on a train and someone was sitting in front of me and I kept on moving their seat. And again, I was about 9 or 10, and they looked around, gave me annoying looks, and I kept on doing it like over and over again. Yeah, so that's an example of an autistic lack of empathy, self-state, and very, 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 very annoying behaviour, which I would absolutely hate if someone did that to me. So, yeah, you can understand why people would be pissed off with that. But like I say, it just shows that I just had absolutely no awareness of other people's feelings back then, like literally no awareness. So I think sometimes if a kid does that, because I'm sure other kids might do that, it's always worth remembering that they could be autistic, because they might not be. Some kids are just annoying. No matter what, they might not be autistic, they might just be an annoying, maybe some kids just aren't brought up very well. For me it wasn't that, I was brought up fine. It's just I didn't have my parents would really told me off when they knew what I was doing. So it wasn't like I hadn't been brought up properly or anything. For me it was like, yeah, and obviously my brother didn't do stuff like that. He only when I got him to, but that's my bad example. So yeah, it's worth remembering if a kid's annoying like that, it's possible they have autism or some other condition. So okay, so moving over to video number 2 now.